Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sarbat Da Bhalla, week 10. This week, joining us is Dr. Jaswant Singh. He'll be, sharing with us his experience with respects to this week's Shabda. A very beautiful Shabda this week. It emphasized a lot on, two different contexts. And this week's Shabda, Nanak Murak ek tu avar pala sehsar, jita tan naam na upjay, se tan hohi kuar. So, Virji, so this week's Shabda, I believe, reciting this Shabda in a daily basis reminds us a lot of stuff that we have done in the past 9 weeks. Do you mind sharing your personal experience? How do you find this Shabda? Connect yourself with the messages in it.
Okay. I think the essential part of the first part of Shabad is how do we bring ourselves low. Yeah? Murak. That means we tell ourselves that we are fools, we are actually very low, but at the same time, by doing so, we are trying to eradicate Home. Home is basically arrogance and also basically, and once we try to eradicate Home, that means we are actually trying to get a blessing for Guru, how actually we connect to Guruji. So second part of the Shabad, like for example, comes to Nam. Nam, how with the eradication of Home, how Guruji blesses with Nam, and the Nam is the most essential, important part for our Sarir, our body.
Acha. So Virji, in the first part of the Shabda, when it kind of elaborate about how do we, get rid of Home in ourselves, do you have any specific examples, Virji, that happened, probably in the past or even this week, where you encounter the person in front of you, in a typical days, you see him as, always someone that, has not so much influence on you, but, did you come across, hey, you look at him differently this week?
I think like, same, being a doctor, so we see patients. So sometimes patient, we have to treat them as well as we can. But sometimes the relatives, the others who actually come in with the patient as well, knowing the medical condition, and sometimes with the Google stuff around, the relatives tend to read a bit more, right? And then with that, they come with pride. That they know everything, And so to break that part, that to tell them that, look here, this is actually the truth about the disease and how we manage, Because sometimes when they read in Google and so on, there's so much of facts there. Correct. But not everything might be true, So to break that bondage or the pride, bring that hormone down, that is a very essential part in managing a patient.
Acha. Yeah, I feel that, typically, when we run into a problem, ਜਦੋਂ ਕੁਝ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਆਪਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ Google ਕੋਲ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਰਚ ਕਰਦੇ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਕੀ ਆ, and yeah, like website like Mayo Clinic, it tells you pretty much, ਇਹ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੋਈ ਆ, right, what kind of, treatment you need, ਹੈ ਨਾ? So ਇਹ knowledge ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਨੂੰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਵੀ ਦਿਖਾਲਣਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ.
Actually, relatives, they're not wrong. It's good to have knowledge, because end of the day, they want the best for their family members as well.
Correct.
But just that we have to put them the right path and say that, look here, this is the right way, and So sometimes, but some of them come with so much of pride because, they probably some status of different status, for their professionals and so on. So which they think that, they know a lot about the condition, So sometimes to get rid of that part of Home, and then, it's a bit challenging, I would say.
Acha. And how do you, Virji, then, position yourself, lower, right, with Nimrata, right? And then you find Guna in them, right? Meaning now, tell me more and, share with me what do you know.
Okay. So when they come, we don't shoot basically the relatives down straight away. We hear them out first. We hear them out, and along the way, then we try to tell them, okay, probably this, I'd like to elaborate more on this, from my experience or from the medical side of it, this is how it works. This is the truth, Probably not, what you're saying is probably right, probably right as well. But at the same time, this is how things works. So then they understand that, okay, I mean, I probably got it wrong, and this is actually how doctor is saying is the right way to go.
Okay.
Yes.
Nicely done. So yeah, you let them speak out,
yes.
subconscious. We acknowledge that
Yes.
they have certain knowledge,
Yes.
and then we then compliment,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
Okay, very good, Virji. And second part of this week's Shabd, Virji kind of remind us about, hey, we have to contemplate on Vahiguru's name in our daily lives, right? So, I think in many previous episodes, they kind of share, things that reminds them on a daily basis, right? For example, when they start their work, when they meet someone, they remind, or when they are getting prepared to start a presentation, they kind of, remind themselves, hey, I want to chant Vaheguru, or I want to do Mool Mantar before I begin. Do you want to share with Sangat today, Virji? What about your personal preference? How do you do it? Any tips for the Sangat so that, we contemplate more often?
I mean, Nam Jap should be done anytime, anywhere, as much as possible. End of the day, we don't know how much is enough for us. That's a big challenge. We don't know what's the maximum amount, what's the minimum amount we need, but we should keep on going. Nam Jap. I give you an experience how Nam Japa or Simran actually has helped me in, and it's a life experience. And I give you an example. There was a time when actually I had a patient in labor, going through labor, and this was actually a high-risk pregnancy. It's a high-risk pregnancy. So I saw the patient around 10 at night, and I actually went back home, and she had to induce the pregnancy because basically of the high-risk pregnancy. And at around 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m. so, I got a call from a nurse, and they said that, we can't hear the heartbeat anymore, baby's heartbeat. So that is actually a dire emergency for us. I say it's impossible. I saw her around 10 a.m. Everything's okay. She said, no, doctor, we are trying our best already for 10 minutes. We can't get the heartbeat, So I jumped out of the bed. Time at Durban, I was just doing Vaheguru, and my wife woke up. She said, what happened? I said, just do Simran. Just say Vaheguru, that's it. And she should start chanting Vaheguru. So I drove the car fast, went to labor room. My house actually is very quite near to the hospital. So the moment I reached there, of course everything was secure because the heartbeat, they couldn't find the baby's heartbeat. So I was just doing Vaheguru, please help me. This is really important for me. So I reached there, and then basically when I saw the patient and when I examined her, I would calm she and her husband as well, and then examine the heartbeat was already there.
Amazing,
so this is, I would say, it's like, you leave everything Guruji, and Guruji really holds your hand through. It's very, very important. And I feel that the Nam Jap part is very important. It's really, very important. When you start the day, even like sometimes, for example, some surgeries, very, very, very tough surgeries, like for example, patient going for, like a cancer surgeries and all that, I always do a das. I think, Guruji, please help me. And we go through the surgery without any problem. It's always like that. And sometimes after surgery, I tend to forget to thank Guruji. In excitement like everything. And as I recollect, then I said, Guruji, thank you once again. So end of the day, it's just like how we break our home and just depend on Guruji for everything. And the best way is just Nam Jap.
Virji, you really kind of share the inner part of yourself with the Sangat today. I felt that, every doctors or every professional that I meet, they are a figure by themselves. But today you really opened my eye, Virji, stating that, behind all these figures, there are still, a hope and a strength that they are holding to the feet of Vaheguru himself. Right?
Because end of the day, Guruji decides everything. We as his slaves. And then basically, Nam Jap, and I've always gone through this again and again. The moment we leave everything in Guruji and get his blessing as much as possible, our pathway is made much more easier. Especially in management patient or some, in surgeries or even day-to-day life, it's much, much easier.
In certain times when we accomplish something with a patient, we feel that ourselves, are in control, and we feel that certain level of home in us that we accomplished it. How do you then, protect or break away from this environment, trying to keep yourself low?
Basically, the most important thing is here, everything is in the hand of Guruji. Everything. And everything goes through the process through us, but it's from Guru's Hukam. It's very important concept here. So sometimes after surgery, sometimes patient will say, doctor, you are God. I said, I cannot be anywhere there. If you tell me if first is God, second is not a doctor. I say second is also God, and third is God. It's all God, God, God. We don't we don't go in anywhere and say that we are there. Because everything is through Guru's to come. So Guru takes priority in everything. So in that way, we don't tell ourselves that basically it's us who did it.
Correct.
It's through us, probably, but end of the day, it's Guru's blessings.
Hanji. Yeah, very excellent perspective, Virji. I myself will look at doctors as God themselves too, and I believe that. And a Guru da Roop for me, right? It's a God by themselves in their roop. Since he kind of cure me, right, or guided me away from my pain, right? That perspective is important.
Most time is the patient do themselves for their own well-being.
True. It is their path.
It's their path. Yeah.
Okay, Virji.
Okay.
Thank you very much for joining us this week, Virji.
Okay, thank you.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.